Dear colleagues, welcome you. We are going to continue our work and talk on the topic Elektromarathon Kyiv, Monte Carlo, across Europe and electric car. Speakers are Olexandr Kravtsov, member of Electrocars team, and Andriy Kovalyov, Volodymyr Romantsov, and Oleksiy Martsenyuk, all of the members of Electrocars team. You have the floor, guys. Good afternoon to everybody. We are happy to welcome you. At last we returned to Kyiv after almost 3 week marathon, Electrocar marathon over Europe. Actually, this marathon Kyiv Monte Carlo is one of the most famous event in Europe, maybe the world over. This year we start from Kyiv. Maybe you remember on the 3rd of June this year there were a lot of electromobiles, not only from Ukraine but from other countries of Europe, and our team actually sent off, taking part in this trip, or rather competition, and we actually covered more than 3,000 kilometers using the electric motor cars. You know, it looked really something like unexpected, because Ukraine was represented by 3 cars. Nissan Leaf, you know, this is a standardized car which can cover about 2,000 kilometers, be in charge only once, and we actually covered 3,000. Also, Ukraine was represented by Zaporozhets, the genius of Ukrainian industry, which was restructured to take shape of electric motor car. And our colleagues driving the Zaporozhets, we reached this square in Monte Carlo and Monaco, and Prince of Monaco actually. I was really amazed to see our cars, which is not designed for long distance trips, and the same can be said about Zaporozhets car. I can remember those days, or those hours when we entered Monaco. A lot of Chinese guys gathered around our car, and we actually handed over a lot of small flags which we carried with us, and that was actually real event when the Ukrainian electric cars reached Monaco. We proved that we can cover long distance, and we proved that this is kind of alleged problem associated with our economy, and that's why we are here now. We came back from that trip. Our return trip was more nice. It allowed us not to hurry up and not compete in different sections of this rally between the cities, and just to communicate with our colleagues, talk about the electromobiles. During every stop, the drivers from diesel cars, ordinary diesel cars, approached us and asked the same questions as we are asked by Ukrainian citizens. And we understand that this is not something which the topic which not only us, not only we are interested in that. They are only starting to switch over to the electric vehicles. And our communication with the Austrian people, with the Slovak colleagues, confirmed that this year is a year of big attention riveted to this topic, and we returned being convinced that we maybe can become the leading country in Europe if you're talking about electromobilization. We awarded the diplomas in section within Ukraine, Rivne and Lviv, also the diplomas of the participants in this marathon, and the medal for the will to win, because such a car with a minimum capacity or battery, we actually managed to cover this big distance and made our breakthrough to Europe. I participated from the very start in Kyiv, in Mikhailovsky Square, all the way to Lviv, and this trip demonstrated some of the drawbacks of our infrastructure. But anyway, we can travel on our roads driving electromobiles, and we safely reached Lviv. And as Sasha mentioned, we were among the top three. The leaders were 2 Teslas. Actually, this marathon showed not only the drawbacks of infrastructure, but it also demonstrated the acceptability of electromobiles in Ukraine, and showed that people were raptured, especially in Bucha. That was a memorable day. The first of our finish, the first section, very interesting graphic day. Everybody are prepared to use electromobiles, but the country is not. Our public officials are not prepared to switch over to electromobiles. They lack not only infrastructure, but also the financial instruments which will allow the people to possess the cars in more or less acceptable conditions. And many people will be prepared to switch from the ordinary, let's say, gasoline or diesel cars to Electrocars, but unfortunately there is no chance, no opportunity now to somehow finance this wish and desire. So we visualize that problem, and in the future we'll try to find some possibility to join the people around this interesting project. So please do not forget to introduce yourselves. Volodymyr Romantsov is my name. I'm Andriy Kovalyov. I'll try to very briefly, actually we operate already this Nissan Leaf car for more than 1 year now. In Kyiv we actually drive that car almost every day, actually every other day maybe. But this is a very good car, we do not have any problems with that. Within this, together we can say that this is a car which can be used on a daily basis. We wanted to prove, participating in that electromarathon, that this car actually can cover long distances, and we managed to do that, 3,000 one way and another 3,000 back to Kyiv. This is a really real figures. We can say that in Europe, the specific sector is only at the beginning of the road, and Poland and Ukraine actually maybe lead the way. A number of the charges compared with Ukraine. In Austria, Italy, they have reached already a good level of development, and using that map, we've managed to find those charging points, so to say, and proceed from them further on, and we believe that this electromobilization will come to this country as well, and we'll have more charging points, etc. My name is Oleksiy Martsenyuk. I was not pilot, but actually my role was very important, back support, so to say. I very often help assist in recuperating the Nissan Leaf. As my colleague mentioned, not everywhere in Europe you can rely upon the possibility to come to any place and charge immediately your car. Charging points are numerous, but some of them are protected by some password, some of them are out of operation. But anyway, we not only prove that you can travel in Europe in those cars, but also we can participate in the races. Actually, we practically, during all these sections of that marathon, we finished. Maybe you remember that in each city which was part of that marathon, that was a certain stage or section, and each car had to cover all of those sections, or let's say laps. We managed to do that, and during the last day we kind of relaxed a bit, for some serious reasons, but nevertheless we proved that we can to in full measure represent Ukraine, Kyiv, our movement, our community in such marathons. What else? Following this marathon, we had a talk with the president, and he said that Nissan Leaf, this is our car, can participate in kind of rallies because this marathon can take the form of the rally, actually. And one of our plans is our participation in the electrocar rally. So if we are invited to participate next year, it will be our pleasure to do that. But this is, we are talking already about the next year. What else I can add? Marathon demonstrated that we are on correct, so on a proper road. And my colleagues already said that neither Poland nor Slovakia are too far ahead of Ukraine, so we can actually make a quantum leap, so to say, in the development of motor car industry, and really we can make the breakthrough, both if you're talking about our mentality or the industry, because electromobiles spell the future, actually. When we were talking with the representatives on the Sun, we asked them, what about your sales? And everybody says there is a kind of a big leap ahead, and the whole world starts to get accustomed to such things as electromobiles. And we tried, I believe we managed that Ukraine can lead the way, but we need some efforts. And we need that more and more people unite and join this idea. Thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation. If there are some questions or comments from journalists, please, but so far from our center. What is the advantage of electromobile as compared to an ordinary car? We heard about your trip and how the infrastructure operates or does not operate. But why those cars are better than the ordinary ones? I'll start to answer your questions. One of the advantages which I could really reveal while discussing this issue with the Ukrainian colleagues, that actually we were traveling absolutely free of charge. People in the days of this economic crisis, they always ask the question regarding to save the money, you know. So we managed to find the free of charge charging points or charging stations, and that was realistic. I don't know Ukraine a single payable, let's say, the charging point. This means that we can produce an electric power ourselves using, for example, the solar cells or solar panels. If the people will put those solar batteries on the roofs of their buildings, they can actually save the money on that. There is a very good dynamics of the motion of the electric car, which cannot be even compared with the diesel or gasoline cars. Actually, you can enjoy you're driving this kind of car much more than when you drive other types of cars. I can also say that electromobile means different philosophy. Why? Well, you see, I'm coming to get back to one of the examples. We were talking with Italian dealers, and that guy actually expressed the idea that this requires a special approach to planning your day. When you know that you have electro car, it's cheap for you to drive it, and you can to plan your day in such a way as not to have, well, for example, just to take care that your car is charged properly. You plan your day in a different way, you know. And this is number one. Number two, when you start to drive such kind of car, you come to realize that you do not pollute the environment. You do not emit some extra tons of carbon into the air. And then you understand this is this thing I was thinking about. This is actually absolutely, this is a real car. So this new philosophy changed the mentality of human beings. And I think owing to the further introduction and development of electric cars, the people will change their attitude toward the environment, toward the ecology, toward the life style of theirs, and the advantage of this electromobile that these changes for the better the global ideology. Maybe you know the percentage, how many percent of Ukrainian population switch over to electromobiles. This is number one question. Question number two, you come back having some experience. You already understood that this is real cool. Maybe this is the road Ukraine should embark upon. But we still do not need the whole planet. But what do you think? How can popularize the driving such electromobiles in Ukraine? Well, in Ukraine there are only few electromobiles in Ukraine, so 0.00 something, as compared to other cars. But nevertheless, this is the innovation, maybe something new, the pioneering effort. What we did, we actually established the Electrocar club, which actually gathers those who would like to participate in development infrastructure and further development and introduction of electromobiles. This is my vision, how I visualize the effort we should exert. Only with the participation of the population of this country can change our future for the better. Actually, we opened a portal, Electrocars, where we would like to put the not only the news, such and such company produce a new vehicle, but we would like, using our own example, to demonstrate what advantages is to drive such kind of cars in Ukraine, not only in Kyiv. Lviv does a lot along those lines now. Dnipropetrovsk, Kharkov, Odessa. So, based on the real example, we try to prove that there is nothing special, nothing complicated there. This is not yet a standard, but we are moving towards that end, and we actually to demonstrate how we can use the charging point. Actually, we turned one of our houses, I would say, into one of the charging points to demonstrate how we can use that to provide the possibility for people to actually to jump in this car and drive a bit and see how cool it is. It reminds me of 1998-99 when the mobile phones started to appear here. In those days, there were just a few people, individuals in Ukraine who had the mobile phones. Today, I believe we do not have to prove that the mobile phones are very much popular and much used everywhere. But when first smartphones or iPhones appeared, the batteries really have to be charged very often. iPhone has to be charged every day. But nevertheless, iPhone means a new philosophy, and electromobile is a new philosophy, and we'll see how this tendency will exponentially increase. Popularity. Take Norway, for example. This is a good motto for the global community. Talking how you should about the attitude to the power engineering. It must be friendly to environment. And our participants actually visit Norway, and we actually follow what's going on the world over in this specific area. In another contribution, we actually bring the information to Ukrainians what's going on the world over, what tendencies there are. So in Norway, not only they have 99% of their electric power, they generate electric power from the renewable resources like wind energy, solar energy, the tide energy, sea energy, so to say. So in addition to that, every third car they sell is electromobile. So you can see this is a kind of, they call it the wave ridge edge, when everybody starts to understand that the electromobile is something we need. So we trying to bring Ukraine closer to this kind of breakthrough moment. We can see already this way which actually increase in its height, etc. We have some questions here. Ukraine Молода, Natalia Petrenko. You were the initiators and you lobbied Verkhovna Rada to adopt the law on canceling the electromobiles customs duties. Did you manage to do that, and how it impacted the development of this special sphere? And do you continue to communicate with the powers that be regarding the, let's say, popularization of electric vehicles? You see, in fact, the law which was adopted in first reading, we also know that the Committee on the Taxation and the Customs Policy already considered it. There was a second reading, some modifications and amendments, whatever, and they adopted that 15 for and 4 against, something like that. And we are working, first of all, with the deputies, because it pretty much depends upon the deputies whether this law is going to be adopted or not. Actually, we published a special leaflet for the deputies, and we carried out a very simple experiment how the easy terms or privileges, what they roll in 4 countries. Norway, United States, China, and I believe the Netherlands, which demonstrate the wonders and miracles of using electromobiles. So we try to, and we prove that some privileges must be their benefits because they can be instrumental. Those privileges are not forever. Just to, they are required to give possibility for growth. And so we are working on that. Maybe Alex can say more about that. We actively are involved in communication with the Kyiv administration. Maybe Sasha will add. Yes, in December, in January this year, we approached the Kyiv Council about the development of the parking lots and providing them with the charging points, some of them at least. And I have some insider information, I don't know who, but one of the officials submitted to Klitschko, the mayor of Kyiv, the project for the doing something about that. I don't know. They're going to have tender, but as bonus, maybe Kyivites, citizens of Kyiv will get as a bonus the charging points, charging stations. And when we were coming back to Ukraine, it demonstrated to us that we returned to a different country. Leslie Mamchichi, writer, was together with us, and she herself, while I was not there, because I had to rest a bit, and she was actually answering a lot of questions actually asked by different drivers of ordinary cars. And also months ago we had the trip from Kyiv to Rivne. When you travel, a lot of people approach you and they ask the professional questions. How expensive is the battery, and what about charging of the battery, etc., etc. So the interest is growing from the ordinary people to those cars. And when Ukraine adopts the law which will cancel the tax encumberment, let's say, burden, we would be able to say that we embarked upon a road of development of electromobile area. My name is Andriy. I'm interested more in specific things. You covered half Europe driving an electromobile or electric car. Is it realistic? So well, it's understood you were going there, in that direction, being part of the competition. But on your way back, you were traveling in a relaxed state, so to say, like a tourist. So my question is, that map, when you were going through Slovakia, I'm very much interested in that. I take special interest in this route from Kyiv to Uzhgorod and to Lublin, not to Lublin, to some kind. So you covered that area, Andriy. This is a very good question. We were driving the Nissan Leaf, and we used that very fashionable word like recuperation. We were very honest, and we demonstrated that in our video. But when coming back, in fact, the last point where we recuperated was in Italy, somewhere near Venice. Then we charged in the Alps, and we went through. Oh well, before we reached the Alps, we were 100% charged. We could not get access to the charging point, but when we reached the Alps, in fact, 2,000 kilometers, I only had to charge the battery. And we actually covered the Austria just like that, at snap of the fingers. And there is a company which actually provides the opportunity for those who drive the electric cars to charge in special points, Then we reached the Vienna, where we had 3 days of repose or rest. We had the possibility to charge in very good charging points, and its company ABB popularized this, and they provide the opportunity to use their charging stations. Then when we reached Bratislava, there is another very powerful company, Greenway in Slovakia, which is free of charge. Until the new year, it is going to be free of charge. When I was talking with the Director General, I told him I gave him some of the information when we do not have the access to the card and we have to sign the contract. And he answered that if they introduce some small payment for their services, this will be very easy thing to do, because you can actually pay through the bank. Actually, coming back, we spent about 20 minutes of our time to fill out the registration information on their site. In 20 minutes, they provide us with PIN code, and we cover the whole of Slovakia through the Tatra mountains, and we approach each charging point. We introduced our PIN code. There was a kind of round the clock support. Some of the charging points or stations are going through reconstruction. They are going to adjust them for the use by Tatras. Then we actually unfortunately had some problems. We got into a pit, and the disc was kind of bent. But anyway, to Chop, it's 180 kilometers, which is for this leaf, it's a bit of tough stuck. But then we reached some of the hotel. We asked for the socket, and they provide us with the socket. 3 electromobiles can be put side by side. We actually had to, in Mukachevo, and we had time to watch this beautiful castle in Mukachevo. We cannot, in Ukraine we couldn't cover, let's say, 800 kilometers per day, but we can do half of that, 400 kilometers. We can go, for example, to Rivne, find some of the friends, and charge our car from the socket, etc. So if you have the friends in Ukraine, and you know the European infrastructure, you can reach Austria to enjoy downhill skiing and go there by electromobile. Yeah, it's easy to do. So you have to have 3-phase socket, a special socket, and you have to take with you some kind of adapters. I thought that this is a Ukrainian kind of invention, but I saw the Austrian ladies in their booth. They had the whole arsenal of the adapters, which really makes your life easier. For example, Novograd-Volynskiy, it's a must. But we can drive between Rivne to Kyiv, but this is the very difficult task, but you can do that. It's very money saving, let's say, event. Actually, I really feared that I would not have enough charge to reach Zhytomyr. But we had a snack there when we reached the Zhytomyr cafe. We talked to the administrator. We left the business cards of ours, and they said if you need the charging points, you're welcome. So near Zhytomyr, I asked their permission to put on in our map that they have actually a special socket when you can charge your car free of charge. You can reach Vienna. Fishka is free of charge. You can reach Vienna within 3 days. Most important is to plan your stops. For example, in Mukachevo to see the castle. In Slovakia, you can have a stop to see the Tatra mountains. Actually, I was your fan during your marathon, and actually I had an idea also to go to Europe, to some seaside on the Electromobile. So, but by the way, how many of you were inside the car? On our way back, we were two. And to Europe, we had 3 people in the car. Because we thought to taking the bicycles with us to reach some city, then to switch to the cycles and just to go on city tour, etc. So I'm more interested in specifics. I'm interested in some practical things. You mentioned that some of these stations are out of operation. What do you think? How we can determine the stations which operate, which do not operate? And for example, if I'm driving one car, not to become frustrated because the station is not working. Well, actually, I'm planning to do some analysis and maybe to write some articles about this trip, Kyiv, Vienna, or Kyiv, the Alps, and to mention mention the owners of those charging stations and the owners of those networks. On our way back, we knew the sites already, and in Slovakia we did not have any problems because we decided just to see what their charging stations undergo reconstruction. So this information is on the website. In Bratislava, they really communicated with us very well. We made acquaintances, and they provide us with a complete set of the information, GPS coordinates about the stations which are being reconstructed now, and now they saved a lot of time to us, unlike Italy, where we had to spend a long time to find the charge point. And did you go through Slovenia? Yes, we did. In Maribor, for example, they had seemingly a very good charging station, but that was out of operation. But that was Sunday, and we didn't have time to try to find anybody. So Slovenia, we can put a big question mark. You mentioned that you had in every country you could charge your car. Not everywhere. In Ukraine, it was easier to reach. To reach agreement with the local population because we had some linguistic problems in some European countries. For example, in Italy, they provide in the campings this kind of charging station, and we came there late at night, and they were afraid without the permission of their director to give permission to us to do that. They were afraid that this car will actually suck the whole electric power from Italy, and this will lead to some kind of blackout, And in Ukraine, we have very hospitable people. We could sense that and feel that. On our way back there, we used the capacities of the organizers. In each city, they provide the possibility to be connected to some hotel or a parking lot, and we actually used the infrastructure. On our way back, we found the charging stations, and in Ukraine some kind of sockets. I'm sorry, we have a limited time, so to sum up briefly, and on the rest you can ask personally many questions to those guys. Actually, we are much satisfied with this trip. We came back with a big desire to work in Ukraine and to do something what we could see in Slovakia, when the owner of the Elektromobile can travel without any kind of barriers or hindrances, never thinking about some kind where he's going to charge his battery. And of course, we wish that law which we mentioned before to be adopted in the second reading, so the Ukrainians could drive cheap electromobiles. To Europeans, 30,000 euro is not a big sum of money, and their governments provide them some privileges or loans. We need that support. We really enjoyed this electromobile. We understood what Andriy is driving now, for example, or what our other colleagues offered to in Ukraine, like this, say, the purchase of such electromobiles. We can say the big respect to those people who provide us with the possibility to use those cars and travel all over Europe. They actually change your mentality, and we call upon all the people who are interested in this, who drive those cars, who sell those cars. We provide a lot of information on our website to provide the people with possibility to buy this kind of car, to sell them. We really do not want to make it just commercial project. We really want to make Ukraine independent, if we're talking about electric power, so that we could inhale a very clean air with our lungs. The lack of infrastructure in Ukraine, this is a really big drawback which impacts the development. But on the other way, there is no problem with that, because we have millions upon millions of sockets in this country which you can reach, like have a gulp of clean water, so we can actually enter in a house and get the permission to charge our cars. Thank you very much for a very interesting presentation. We ran out of time, but you can continue outside of these premises, and we do hope that the authorities will make it possible for development of the electromobilism, which will actually clean our environment. Our next briefing at 12:30, the news from Channel Lysenko. All those present here, we can